You're watching NBA Now. I am Will Scott. We are here after a stunning defeat from the Miami Heat to the Boston Celtics, 111-105. The final score at TD Garden in Boston. Miami went into Boston, took both games, and now have a 2-0 series lead going back to South Beach. Taking a look at the final box score here. Final score again, 112-105. Out-rebounded were the Boston Celtics. Marcus Smart, he only had 3 assists, surprisingly. 22 total assists for the Celtics. Celtics shot 46% from the floor. They actually outshot the Heat overall. The Heat 34.6% from three-point range in this one. And what's really worth noting is that the Heat were down 8 points going into the fourth quarter. They outscored the Celtics 36-22 in the fourth quarter. A collapse down the stretch from Boston. And Jayson Tatum only had 1 shot attempt in the fourth. All 5 of his fourth quarter points came at the free throw line. Jimmy Butler woke up in the fourth quarter, and if I'm blaming this loss on one person, quite frankly, as a Celtics fan or Celtics host, it is Grant Williams. Grant Williams poked the bear. He woke Jimmy Butler up. Jimmy Butler wanted to make him his lunch.
Yeah, Grant Williams puts up the Celtics by 9 points with a three-pointer with 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this game. And as he was walking back down the court, he was guarding Jimmy Butler, and he gets in Jimmy Butler's ear and starts talking some raw. And what does Jimmy Butler do in Jimmy Butler fashion? He smiles and he laughed walking down the court. In the next possession, Jimmy Butler got an and-one bucket on Grant Williams, and they butted heads. They quite literally butted heads.
Literally, head-to-head.
And exchanged words for about 10 seconds, and then the officials broke it up. I liked what the officials did there to actually let him play a little bit and not call a technical right away. But since that moment, the TNT broadcast showed it, and I don't know what the final run is, but after that moment, the Heat went on a 20-9 run before closing out this game. Grant Williams woke up Jimmy Butler, woke up the dog in this Miami Heat, who have been fighting on the road through the first 2 games. Looked like the game was getting a little out of hand there in the middle of the fourth quarter. Williams woke up Jimmy, woke up the rest of this Heat team, and after that, it was over for the Celtics, and now they trail 2-0 in this series.
Saw Dillon Brooks poke the bear. First round against LeBron James didn't work out too well. Grant Williams did that tonight. It's a shame because I thought Grant was fairly decent, had 9 points in 26 minutes. But, man, you woke up Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy Butler won this game in the end for Miami. Final stat line for Grant. He checked out with a few minutes to go, about 3 minutes left in the game. He checked out because I think Joe just saw the writing in the wall that Grant Williams was just going to get dominated by Jimmy. 9 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. One of the storylines of this game was Caleb Martin. He had a great game in Game 1, 15 points. Martin in Game 2, 25 points off the bench. He was sensational.
Yeah, and this man is one of the most underappreciated players in the NBA, and I think this postseason run, he's starting to get his flowers. Caleb Martin was unsigned this past year in free agency. He was with the Heat for a year or 2, and then was a free agent. Heat didn't know if they were going to bring him back, but ultimately did on a 3-year, $20 million deal. And wow, does that look like one of the best contracts in all of basketball right now. Martin was efficient, 11 of 16 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3. He was defending Tatum at a high level in that second half. Tatum still got his, but he made it a little more difficult. The Heat were running that 2-3 zone, which personally I did not love. I think the Celtics were carving it up for the most part, but Caleb Martin was spearheading that attack with Gabe Vincent at the top of the key. But I can't get enough adjectives to describe how good Caleb Martin played in this game. He is the main reason the Heat are up 2-0. Jimmy Butler might have taken us home, but Caleb Martin in the second and third quarter absolutely carried this Miami Heat team and is the reason they stayed around in the game for Jimmy and Bam to take the Miami Heat home and go back to the Kaseya Center up 2-0 in this series. But Will, we know this, the Celtics have a lot of firepower, and the series is not over. So I want to ask you guys this.
And what I said after Game 5 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against Philly, do not count the Celtics out. I'm going to say that same thing here, but the big difference is you're down 2-0 going to Miami. You lost both games at TD Garden. You're in a huge hole. Comment below who wins this series. Type H for the Heat or type C for the Celtics down in the comment section. Let me know who wins this series. It's going to be very tough for the Celtics to come back.
Now we'll shift over to the Celtics stats in a second, but to finish up things for the Miami Heat, who did win this game 111-105, Bam Adebayo, after playing 4 rough games in Milwaukee in the first round and letting Jimmy Butler carry him and mostly everyone else in that first series, Bam Adebayo, since Game 5 against Milwaukee Bucks, have absolutely looked like the max player he is. He's played all-world defense, and he has been unbelievable on the offensive end. 22 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. 1 assist from a triple-double, which he had in Game 5 against Milwaukee, a 20-point triple-double. Bam has been the excellent co-star that we've expected him to be alongside Jimmy Butler, and without him, this team would be horrible in the regular season, postseason at all. A lot of people on Heat Twitter talk about potentially trading Bam, especially early in this playoff run because of how bad he looked. Stick with our guy. No ceiling Bam is a real thing. This man could be our franchise player once Jimmy hangs it up, but right now we're focusing on how good he has been as that second player for this Heat playoff run.
The matchup that I was worried about most was different than the player I was worried about most. The player I was worried about most coming in this series was Jimmy Butler, obviously. The matchup that worried me was Bam against Horford. And Bam absolutely dominated Al Horford tonight. Bam had 22 points, 16 rebounds, 9 assists, nearly a triple-double. Al Horford, in 29 minutes, made 1 shot, had 4 rebounds, 2 points. Absolute joke. You have got to get someone else on Bam because Al Horford is getting destroyed. You have got to figure something else out. Robert Williams played less minutes than Al Horford tonight. I just don't think that can happen going forward if Boston wants to have any chance to get back in this series. Also, Al Horford, stop shooting threes. 0 for 3 from deep tonight.
Yeah, we'll take more of an in-depth look at him in a second, but one last Heat player that I think must get mentioned is Gabe Vincent. He struggled in this game. I think Gabe Vincent was absolutely horrible through basically 3 3/4 of the game. But then he hit a massive step-back jumper. The Celtics cut it to a 2-point game with about a minute to go, and Gabe Vincent took Jayson Tatum. Yes, Jayson Tatum, isolation ball, between the legs, step-back, midi, buckets to put the Heat back up 4, which ultimately ended up giving the Heat the breathing room they needed to close out this game.
Gabe Vincent, got to give him credit. He was non-existent really all night. Had the big free throws in the fourth, had that big shot to give Miami a 4-point edge, and they were able to hold on here. But just a shocking loss. I'm shocked. I thought we were going to have a competitive game tonight, Rolly. I said that before. I know a lot of Celtics fans were confident not only in a win, but a dominant win, much like we saw in Game 2 against Philadelphia after dropping Game 1. But I know Miami was just going to be tougher than Philly. They're hungrier. They're better. They're better coached, obviously. I knew this was going to be a tougher response in Game 2, and sure enough, the Heat took this game. And not only did Heat take this game, Rolly, you surpassed 500 subscribers tonight.
Yeah, we did. Our goal coming into this watch party was 500 subscribers. We hit 546 tonight on our watch party. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Join us as we go further along in this Heat playoff run. We'll also be here all off-season long for the NBA draft, for NBA free agency, for all the Miami Heat trade rumors. Our next goal is 600. We hit 500. I want to show love to all of you guys. And the next one we'll be at is 600. But the Celtics today, make sure you subscribe to them as well.
Yes, be sure to subscribe. Celtics Day. If you want more Celtics content, going to have some live shows in addition to watch parties coming up in the offseason. Hit that subscribe button if you want to stay in the know with the Boston Celtics. And if Boston can't come back and win this series, it's certainly going to be an eventful offseason. Jayson Tatum was great tonight for the most part. 34 points, 13 rebounds, 8 assists. But what did I say throughout the game and throughout last game as well? When Jayson Tatum has the ball in his hands, good things happen. Tatum only had 1 shot attempt in the fourth quarter. All 5 of his fourth quarter points came at the free throw line. He did not get the ball enough in the fourth, and sure enough, Miami outscored Boston by 14 points in the fourth quarter. Jayson Tatum should have had the ball a lot more in the fourth quarter tonight. He might have been able to do what he did in the fourth quarter in Game 6 against Philly, quite frankly, if he would have been able to have those possessions. But the offense did not run through Jayson Tatum in the fourth, and it showed. You lay an egg in the fourth quarter, and it's disappointing. You let a great Jayson Tatum performance go to waste.
Yeah, I thought Tatum was terrific in that first and third quarter. I mean, he was unguardable, getting anything he wanted.
He had 14 points. I should say, let me correct myself. He had 12 points in the first quarter, and then he had 15 points in the third quarter.
So he was getting anything he wanted. The Heat had no answer for him. And I don't know how it's even possible for him to go that quiet in the fourth quarter for the second consecutive game. Is it the Heat's defensive game plan to just front Tatum and not let him get the ball, or is he not calling for the ball? Whatever it is needs to change if you're the Boston Celtics, because, like I said, he could not be stopped in this game, and he barely took any shots in that fourth quarter. All of his 5 points in that fourth quarter came from the free throw line. I mean, what are you doing, Jason? JT, take over the game, man.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
I'm a Heat fan, so I obviously don't want him to do that. But just
not to mention, this comes after he did not have one shot attempt in the fourth quarter in Game 1.
Yeah,
and the Celtics lost that game as well.
It just makes no sense. But you know who's been horrific in
Jaylen
these first two games?
Jaylen Brown was rough, man. Jaylen Brown.
Man.
So Jaylen Brown, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 1 of 7 from 3. You want to know what his plus-minus was, Hurley? Just take a guess.
Minus 29.
Minus 24.
Woo!
Jaylen Brown was minus 24 tonight. Quite frankly, the Celtics were better, a lot better, when Jaylen Brown was not on the court. I don't know why, but Jaylen Brown just had a bad basketball game tonight. Did not look confident, did not look comfortable, did not look ready. And Jaylen Brown had one of the worst performances that I've ever seen from him playoff-wise. Disappointing. He did not score at all in the fourth quarter, by the way. He did not get going. I don't get it. I don't know what happened to Jaylen Brown tonight. It was disappointing. Jayson Tatum had a good game for the most part. Obviously needed more touches there in the fourth. But Jaylen Brown, from start to finish, was not good. In fact, he started 1 of 7 from the field. They took him out. The Celtics went on a 19-2 run without him.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown, questionable shot, I guess, selection, but he's also not being able to hit anything either. I want to take a look at his three-point shooting before we move on to our next key to the Heat winning this game, which is Al Horford. But first, Jaylen Brown through the first 2 games of the series at home. Somewhere you should be comfortable shooting the basketball is 2 of 13 from 3.
Terrible.
You cannot be a max wing player in this league trying to make the NBA Finals and win the NBA Finals and throw up duds like that. It has truly been disappointing if you're a Boston Celtics fan. But we'll close the show on this point, Will. It's how bad Al Horford has been abused by Bam Adebayo. Horford played terrific against Joel Embiid last series, locked him up, made his life difficult for Embiid. But this series, Bam has done whatever he wanted.
It's been embarrassing. And, Bam's the better player. It is what it is. But for Al Horford to just get bodied the way he did today, embarrassing. Bam had 22 points, 16 rebounds. Al Horford, 2 points, 4 rebounds, 0 of 3 from three-point range. What did I say every time he threw up a 3? I said, don't shoot it. I said, why are you shooting it? He cannot make three-pointers. He has been struggling the last couple of games from distance. He was 1 of 5 from three-point range in Game 1. So he's 1 of 8 from three-point range in this series. It just can't happen. I love Al. He's been a great player for a long time. I think Robert Williams should get more minutes. You might want to even consider they haven't done this very often, starting Robert Williams and Derek White. Do not start Al Horford next game. That's my challenge to Joe Mazzulla.
Let's see if Mazzulla makes the change, because
he's going to be watching the town.
There's going to be a lot of changes needed if you're the Boston Celtics, if you want to overcome this 2-0 deficit after dropping back-to-back games in the Eastern Conference Finals at home.
I'll say this. When the Celtics went down 3-2 against Philly, I still felt like Boston was going to win that series. It's just different this time. I don't feel like that right now. In my opinion, the Heat have just been playing better basketball. They have a better coach. They got 2 games coming up at home. It was a little bit different last time, because if you're the Celtics and you go into Philly and win Game 6, you got Game 7. Even if you go into Miami and win 1 game, you're still down 3-1.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be an uphill battle for Boston to win this series. You got to take it game by game. I know everybody's going to be counting out the Celtics. Everyone's going to be saying, oh, man, Jaylen Brown trade. Are they going to blow it up? Or are they going to do all this? Certainly don't count Boston out. If they win Game 3, it's going to get interesting. But still, I feel like you got to have 2 games here in Miami. Take both of those games in Miami if you want to have a chance to win this series. Be sure to subscribe if you are all about the NBA, the Heat Report, Celtics Day. Be sure to subscribe, whatever channel you're watching on right now.